recording. Okay. Sorry, we had a little technical issue, so let's go back to what we was talking about. We was going over the Big 12 schedule, and I'll pull this back up. Okay, we was going over the Baylor Bears, so that was they're going to finish 11-3. Seven. They finished 7-6 a year earlier. That's a year earlier. Let's go over the Iowa State schedule. Let's give you the Iowa State schedule as predicted. They will finish 7-5. Iowa State. They will finish 5-4 in the conference, but their preseason was the same, 7-5, but they went 7-6 a year ago, and about 2 years ago they went 8-5. So that's the norm right there for the Iowa State Cyclones football team in the Big 12. So this is what they're going to be playing. South Dakota, that's going to be a runner win for them. Also, they will take on Iowa. That's most likely going to be a loss at Iowa. And let's see. They will take on UNLV. That'll definitely be a win for that on September 19th. Also, they will take on Texas Tech. That'll be a win. Also, they will take on Kansas. That'll be a win. Also, they'll take on Oklahoma State. There will be losses, so that'll be two back-to-back losses against the Oklahoma teams, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. They will have an open date. Then they will take on K-State. That will be a loss. Also, they will take on TCU. No, that'll be a win. So K-State will be a win. Excuse me. TCU will be a loss. Baylor will be a win. Texas will be a loss. And West Virginia will be a win. So West Virginia most likely will be a win, to say the least. So I think it's probably going to be either a 7-win season or maybe a 6-win season for however you want to describe it. So that's what we're discussing tonight. Let me put the link in the descriptions. So let me go ahead and set that up for you. Give me 1 second to put that back in. Okay, I'm gonna put that in. Okay, let's put it in for the people on Twitter. There we go. Everything's on Twitter, so we'll get back into the broadcast. Okay, let me get this share screen back up. We will put this in. Okay, so I say 6-5 most likely will be the scenario for Iowa State. So that's going to be another 6-win season for them. If they'll get their 7th win in the bowl game. Now Kansas, this is another team coached by Les Miles. Hopefully Les Miles will get this team back on the map, because look, he's going to have ample time to get that team back. They're predicted to finish 4-8. I hope they're wrong, but I think they most likely will finish between 3 wins and 2 wins. If you ask me, it most likely be between 3 wins and 2 wins. They finished 3-9 last year, 3-9 in 2018. So that's the tip of the iceberg. Let's go over to let's see their schedule. We're going to break down the schedule. They will take on New Hampshire. That will be a runner win. They will take on Baylor. That'll be a loss, so that's going to be a loss against Baylor. Also, they will take on Boston College. That's a big ACC team. That's going to be a win against them. Also, they will take on Coastal Carolina, but here's the kicker right here. October 10th, October 17th, October 24th, and November 7th, they will have 4 losses in the season. So that's going to be the biggest downer for them. They're going to have 4 losses going into the last few weeks of the college football season. They'll get a win against Texas Tech. That's one thing they will get a win against. The Texas Tech Raiders, that'll be a win. Also, they will take on Oklahoma. That will be a loss and also another loss. So I think their season's going to be done before they get to the middle to latter part of the season. So I'll be honest with you, Les Miles is going to have to improve this team. I'm going to tell you right now. Because if you don't improve this team, guess what? He's going to be no longer employed with that school. That's something he has to understand in that situation. So let's see who's in here. We don't know who's in here yet. Let's see. We got some participants. We only got nope. We ain't got no participants. So we are still good. So we will move along. Okay, we're back on. Let's go over to the Kansas State schedule. I'm going to break that Kansas State schedule down for you. Kansas State is projected to finish 7-5. Also, they're projected to finish 4-5 in the Big 12 Conference. Their 2019 projection was 6-6. They finished 8-5 a year ago, so they had a good year, 8-5. But they also finished 5-7 about 2 years ago in 2018. So Kansas State most likely will finish with that 6-win concept. So that most likely will happen in college football. So I think it's imperative, and we'll put that in. We'll send it to. I don't know who we can send it to. I just sent the message. I just sent it over to So let's begin our schedule. Let's look at the schedule. They will have Buffalo. That's a MAC team. I think they're going to win that game. That's probably definitely going to be a runner win for those involved. Now the next one is going to be North Dakota. That's going to be another runner win right there. Also, they will take on Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's SEC, but they will lose to Kansas State. They will take on West Virginia. That will be a loss for them, so they'll be their first loss of the season. They will go 3-0, but they will get their first loss. They will go 3-1. They will take on Texas. They will rebound against Texas and Kansas with wins. They will take on TCU. Also, they will have an open date on October 24th, but the losses will pile up in the last part of the season. They will lose to Iowa State, Oklahoma, and also Baylor, but they will win against Oklahoma State. So they will have those 4 losses. So I'll be honest with you, their season is going to be very rough for the Kansas State Wildcats, to be honest with you. So let's go over to the Oklahoma schedule. This is going to be the tip of the. This is going to be the team that most likely going to get back into the college football playoffs in the Big 12. Last year they finished 10-2. They was in the college football playoffs. They was in the semifinals, but unfortunately they lost to LSU in the semifinals. They finished 7-2 in conference play, so that's the main team that's gonna you have to go through to get into the conference championship. If it does happen like that. So we will go through their schedule. They finished 12-2 last year. They're going to project finish 10-2 this year. So they're going to have 10 wins this year, and they most likely will get into the college football playoffs with 2 losses. Any team at any time will get in. Also, they finished 12-2 about 2 years ago, so they kind of had good seasons. They was projected to finish 11-1 a year ago, but they finished 12 wins, so they had a very good season. Okay, they will start off with Missouri State. That will be a win. They will take on Tennessee. That will be a win. Open date on September 19th. Also, will take on Army in Baylor. So that is going to be 4 wins in a row to start off the 2020 football season. Also, they will take on Texas. That'll be a loss in Dallas. And also TCU will be a loss, but they will bounce back against Iowa State, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Kansas State, Kansas, and also Texas Tech. So that's the bounce back wins after that loss against Texas and Dallas. So that's the accumulating situation right there for college football. So in general. So let's see who's in the participant area. I'm gonna go check and see if we got anybody coming in. Looks like no one. We don't see no one in there. So we are gonna continue. I'm just looking to see if we got anybody coming in to talk tonight. So we just went over the Oklahoma schedule. I say it's gonna be maybe 11 wins this year for Oklahoma, if you ask me. But they're projecting 10 wins this year for the Oklahoma Sooners. Now we'll go over some more teams here on the Big 12 preview and prediction. We will begin with Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State will finish 10-2. They had a lot of news headlines this week with Mike Gundy talking about with the him wearing an OANN shirt, and that was unacceptable what he did. So he did apologize. So that's some off the field issues they're going to have to contain right there, because that's going to be a big distraction going into the 2020 college football season. Let's see. They will finish 7-2. I say it's going to be Oklahoma State and Oklahoma most likely will be contending for the Big 12 crown. They finished 8-4 last year, but they finished with 8 wins and 5 losses. So they're back on the rebound. Mike Gundy, hopefully he will get this team continue on the right track whenever. So let's give you the schedule for Oklahoma State. They will have Oregon State out at home. There will be a win. They will have Tulsa. That will definitely be a win. Western Illinois, definitely a win. So they'll finish up 3-0 before the opening date. So they will have an opening date undefeated. Also, they will take on TCU. That'll be at TCU. That'll be a win. Also, they will take on Iowa State. That'll be a win. Also, they will take on Kansas. That will be a win. So they will be undefeated before they take on Oklahoma, and that'll be their first loss of the season. That will come on October 24th. But their bounce back wins will be against Texas Tech, Baylor, West Virginia, and Texas. But the only loss before the end of the season will be K-State. That'll be the only loss of the season going into the college football season. Now, TCU, this is another team on the rise in the college football. To be honest with you, they finished 7-5, 5-7 last year, 7-6 2 years ago. But they're projected to get better this year, 7-5. 6-3 in the conference, so I think they're going to be contending as well and get into a bowl game once again. So I think they're going to be back on the right track. Okay, their first game they will take on Cal. That will be a loss. That's a Pac-12 team. That's always a tough game over there in California. So that's a loss for them. They will have 2 wins. That will be against Prairie View A&M and SMU, but the losses will rack up with Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Baylor, and Texas. But their wins will come on October 17th, October 31st, November 7th, and November 21st, and also November 28th against Kansas. So they're going to finish with a good record now. They're definitely going to finish with a good record. With 6 wins. They say 7. I'm going to most likely give them 6 wins in the season. So that is how I'm looking at it. Okay, now the Texas schedule. This is Texas. Texas most likely will be another contender for the Big 12 if it balls down to the last few weeks of the season. So that's what's going to happen. Going into the so let's give you the breakdown on them. They're projected to finish 8-4. Also, they're projected to finish 6-3 in the Big 12 Conference. Also, the preseason projections last year was 9-3, but they went 8-4, so it was a good 8-4 year. But they finished 10-4. 2 years ago in 2018, so that's just the rise right there. Their first game of the season, they will have USF, that's South Florida. That'll be a win, so that most likely be the first win of the season. But they're coming to Baton Rouge now. That's going to be a tough game because we played them a couple of years ago, and we had a shootout against the Texas Longhorns. I mean, that game wasn't very pretty a couple of years ago. That was in Houston. So I think it's going to be another shootout between whoever is going to be the quarterback with LSU and the Texas quarterback. Whoever's going to take the snaps for the Longhorns. Then they will take on UTEP. That's going to be a win, so that's a Conference USA team, but they will have an open date on September 26th. The losses will come on October 3rd against K-State, Texas Tech, and also Oklahoma in the last game of the season. But their last 6 wins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last 6 wins will be against Oklahoma. That'll be in Dallas. Also, West Virginia at home. Also, Baylor at home. And also, Kansas at home. TCU at home. And also, Iowa State at home. So, that's going to be their last 6 wins going into the 2020 college football season. So they're going to be projected to finish 8-4. If they finish out the last few weeks with some wins, I think they're going to probably finish maybe with 7. That's my guess. So so let's see who's in here. Let's see. Also, if you want to come in through the video chat. If you want to, come on down. We have everything. We have all the links sent over to Twitter, and also Facebook. If you want to come in on Facebook as well, we have one. If we want one to come in, we can get them in. So we have you. We'll have you in the screen. So we'll make sure you come on, and you'll be recognized. So in tonight's call. So let's move back over to the Texas Tech schedule. We're going to go over the Texas Tech schedule this time. Texas Tech will finish 6-6 in 2020. Also 3-6 in the Big 12. I think they're most likely going to get more wins than that. They're going to be bowl eligible if but they preseason finish was projected to be 5-7. Last year they didn't have a good year. They only won 4 games, and 2 years ago they only won 5 games. So that's just the tip of the norm right there for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. So we're going to begin break down the schedule. They will have UTEP on September the 5th. That'll be at UTEP. Also, they'll have Alabama State. That'll be, let's see, at home. Also, they will take on Arizona. That will be a home. That'll be a win. Also, they'll take on Iowa State. The losses will pile up in the last couple of weeks of the season when they take on Oklahoma State, K-State, Kansas, TCU, and Oklahoma. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses going into the last couple of weeks. But their 3 wins are going to come against West Virginia, Baylor, and Texas. So most likely Texas will upset. Texas Tech will upset Baylor. Excuse me, Texas Tech. So that's one of the tips right there. So we are going over West Virginia's schedule. I'm going to go over the West Virginia Mountaineers. West Virginia finished 5-7 this year. They most likely going to finish worse. I'd say 2 wins, probably 3 wins. They finished 5-7 a year ago, and 2 years ago they had an 8-4 record, so they had a good year about 2 years ago. So I'm looking forward to seeing what West Virginia can do this year in the Big 12. They will have Florida State. That will be in Atlanta, so that's going to be the first game of the season on looks like Labor Day weekend. Hopefully we will have college football. September 12th, they will have Eastern Kentucky. Also, they'll have Maryland. That will be at home. Also, they'll have K-State. That will be a win. Also, they will have Texas. That will be a loss. And there are a couple of losses will go against Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Baylor, and also Iowa State. So they're not going to have a good season. I'll be honest with you. They might not have a good season, West Virginia. So that is just the tip of the norm right there. So I look at it this way: if it's going to be those Big 12 teams, I'm probably gonna pick Texas to win the league this year. So that's one thing I'm gonna be picking right there is Texas. So I'll be honest with you right now. Look, all those teams most likely will finish. See, like Oklahoma State, they'll finish no worse than second. Texas first, so I think Texas will get that Big 12 crown. But Oklahoma will be the deciding factor this year. Whoever wins the Big 12 championship, it gets in the Big 12 out of the Big 12. So once again, this concludes tonight's Sports Time New Orleans Sports Podcast. We went over the Big 12 games in nauseam. So once again, like, share, follow Sports Talk with Kerry Wiemeyer Show. Let me see if I can get my share screen up once more and get my whiteboard up and see if I can give you those save screen. I'm gonna get that up on my screen and show it in my folder. See if I can get my whiteboard up. I have my whiteboard set up. Let's see if I can get my little I don't know if we can get that up. Okay. Let's see if we can get my whiteboard up. I don't know if we can get it up. Apologize if we can't. So, okay, like, share, and follow Sports Talk with Kerry Wiemeyer Show on Twitter at Talk Kerry. That's TalkKerry. Also, you can follow me on Tumblr at KLW7825, and also you can follow me on Facebook at Kerry Wiemeyer number 75. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at Sports Talk 2505. That's Sports Talk 2505. So that's many ways you can follow me. So this was a recording. So we are recording tonight. So once again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming in. You'll most likely see this. I'll download it to YouTube or wherever we'll download it. You'll be able to see the replay of this show. So everybody have a good rest of your Thursday even, and we'll be back again tomorrow with Sports Talk with Kerry Wiemeyer Show back on Sportscaster.